So, in previous class, we have discussed about the contributions or about the early nationalist leader Dadabhai Naoroji. So, in today's class, let us learn about Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he was born at Kolhapur, so which is in Maharashtra, and he was a professor of history and economics at Ferguson College in Pune. So this is just a basic introduction, general introduction about Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So what influenced this man? So Gopal Krishna Gokhale, influenced by the ideals of Justice M.G. Ranade. So he joined the Deccan Education Society founded by Ranade. So with the ideologies and principles of Justice M.G. Ranade, who got influenced? Gopal Krishna Gokhale got so much influenced, and so he also joined the Deccan Education Society founded by Ranade. So a society was founded by M.G. Ranade called Deccan Education Society. So from this Deccan Education Society, Justice M.G. Ranade was inspiring many. So like he was running his things. So he joined, Gopal Krishna Gokhale joined this Deccan Educational Society, and he also started working with Justice M.G. Ranade on behalf of the society. So what exactly was this Deccan Educational Society was doing? So on behalf of the society, especially Gopal Krishna Gokhale went to England and propagate Indian views before the Welby Commission. So what is Welby Commission? Welby Commission was appointed by the British Parliament or the British government in England to study on Indian expenditure. So the amount of taxes collected by Britishers from India, what are they using for, and how these what are the, I mean, the taxes that the British are collecting from India, how they are using that expenditure. So because there is a link to that. So in the demands of early nationalists, they asked for an inquiry committee to study why India is slipping into what do you say, famines and droughts. So when they asked an inquiry committee as a demand, so the Britishers responded it through Welby Commission. So Welby Commission was appointed to study the Indian expenditure by Britishers, how the Britishers in India are spending money on Indians. So, or how the Britishers are having their expenditure in India. So they wanted to study this. So to represent the, so before Welby Commission, when Welby Commission was appointed, it is from India, Gopal Krishna Gokhale went and he represented India and he gave his views to the Britishers or before the committee. He was even awarded the title of Companion of Indian Empire. So he was given a title because he was representing India on various issues to British government, especially when he represented the way he represented the views of Indians before Welby Commission. He was awarded, like he was referred as the Companion of Indian Empire. So this was about the introduction of Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he became the most popular leader of Indian National Congress. So he became the most popular leader of Indian National Congress. So by this time he also joined Congress along with other early nationalists, and very soon he got popular. The way he represented India's views before Welby Commission was very impressive. So he presided over the Varanasi session of Congress in 1905. So you all are aware that Indian National Congress Party had the culture of having meetings every year in December and pass some resolutions. So as they in their regular way of conducting sessions of Congress, the session conducted in 1905 by the Congress Party was presided over by Gopal Krishna Gokhale. He was having faith in British liberalism. So he had certain faith on Britishers. In what aspect he was having faith? In the liberalism. The way the Britishers have adopted democracy and other principles in England has impressed Gokhale also. So he felt that the British would definitely give importance to liberal ideologies. So he developed faith in the British liberalistic principles. So in support to his faith, he, he said the goal of Congress should be the attainment of a form of government similar to that which existed in the self-governing colonies of British Empire. So whichever colonies were under the British Empire and which later became free, they all have adopted democracy. So this was very much liked by Gopal Krishna Gokhale. He said that Indian National Congress, it should work, or its objective should always be forming a government which existed in self-governing colonies of British Empire. So because most of the self-governing colonies, that means the colonies which became independent from British, they have adapted democracy which was taught by Britishers. So even Gokhale wants Congress party to work for establishment of a government which is similar to that of the colonies that got freedom from British. So the colonies got democracy. He even wants India to adapt democratic and other kind of principles, which is which are like which are being taught by the Britishers. So this statement supports that he is having a lot of faith in British liberalism. So what are his contributions? So persuaded the British for reforms. Persuaded means continued. So he always continued to to approach the Britishers for bringing certain changes in India so that the Indian problems can be solved. He never gave up. He always persuaded. So Gokhale favored the use of constitutional means. So Gokhale never wanted violence and any other methods for reforms. See, they know that there are a lot of problems in India. To solve these problems, Indian National Congress is working. So he wants Indian National Congress to adapt constitutional means. That means within the legal framework of Britishers. So he want actually Indian National Congress to adapt methods which are within the legal framework of British. That means the methods that the early nationalists adapt to achieve the goals should not what do you call it should not violate the rules framed by Britishers. So to achieve the goals, Gokhale believed in constitutional means. So he also opposed policies of British government whenever necessary. So that doesn't mean that he's a complete faithful man even if the British are doing wrong. If the British are doing wrong, he even opposed those policies, or he even criticized these policies whenever necessary. He criticized the government on issues such as incurring huge expenditure on British army. So those days the taxes being Gokhale has heavily criticized on certain aspects of British policies. So those days, the Britishers, they used to spend all the taxes collected from Indians either mostly on their trade or on the British army. So which he doesn't like. So Gopal Krishna Gokhale criticized this policy and adopting the policy of racial discrimination in appointments to higher posts. Those days, the Britishers were never encouraged Indians to reach to higher posts in the government jobs. So whatever jobs, government jobs are there, they never, even you take army also, they never encouraged Indians to reach to higher posts. So this because they feel that the British is a superior race and Indians are a very inferior race. So this racial differences were shown by Britishers, which was strongly objected by Gopalakrishna Gokhale. And he also criticized on imposing tax on cotton. Okay, so see, the Britishers were even collecting, you know, a tax on cotton, which he doesn't like, so that See, there was like, if tax is being levied on cotton, so they would not sell it to England and all. So the Britishers here itself, they can purchase those cotton and they can export it to their country for their industrial purposes. So this kind of exploitations and spending expenditure of money on unnecessary things and showing racial discrimination was completely criticized by Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So another reforms that Gokhale asked were to reform the legislative councils and separation of judiciary from executive. So legislative councils are like they are the bodies through which Indian governance was operated, and judiciary was almost kept with the executive. So the judicial decisions were taken mostly by the executive head. For example, you take the viceroy is the highest executive head. He was also having certain judicial powers, which made Indians to suffer a lot. So this man, Gokhale, he demanded that legislative councils, which are the representative bodies of governance, must be reformed, as well as judiciary must be separated from executive. And he played an important role in the passage of Minto-Marley reforms. So Gokhale, he played an important role in the passage of Minto-Marley reforms. So what are these Minto-Marley reforms? See, these were the reforms introduced to India to expand the councils. So we were talking about the legislative councils, right? So the legislative councils both at center and the provincial level, their number was increased. In fact, there were some 16 members and it was raised to a high number of 60 people. Okay, so Legislative Council is a governing body. Like if you compare modern day Prime Minister and his cabinet is a key governing body for the entire country. We had Central Legislative Council and provincial level, they had their own legislative councils. So to increase the number of increasing the number of or the size of legislative council was a popular demand by Indian National Congress those days. So in this record, Minto-Marley reforms were introduced. So Gopal Krishna Gokhale played an important role in the passage of this Minto-Marley reforms. Through these reforms, the size of provincial as well as central legislative councils was increased. So this was due to the efforts of Gopal Krishna Gokhale. He also served as member of Indian Public Service Commission and urged it to increase the share of Indians in higher services. So he was member of Indian Public Service Commission. So which was a popular demand, right? The popular demand of early nationalists through Congress was they want Indianization of public service. So because of which a Indian Public Service Commission was created. And being a member of it, he wanted to increase the share of Indians in higher services. Through this commission, he wanted to recruit more Indians into this government services. During his visit to England, Gokhale tried to persuade the British statesmen not to give effect to partition of Bengal. See, partition of Bengal was done in 1905 by Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of India. So this man Gokhale, he went and he requested, he continued his efforts with the British parliamentarians not to give official permission for this partition of Bengal. So, but despite his efforts, partition has happened. That's another issue. But during his visit to England, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he was continuously keeping his efforts with the British parliamentarians not to give permission for this partition of Bengal. So this was another important, effort he kept during the national movement. And Servants of India Society. He set up an organization called Servants of India Society in 1905. So the organization started by Gopal Krishna Gokhale was Servants of India Society. What is this society doing? What was this society doing? So its main aim was to train national leaders, so who would dedicate themselves to the service of India. So through his organization called Service of India Society, he was training leaders he was training Indians to become leaders. Okay, so at national level, he was training leaders, and also dedicate for what purpose he was training leaders, dedicating to the service of India. Some of the most important members of society were Srinivasa Shastri and Hridayanath Kunzru. So there were some many great leaders who emerged from, or who took birth from these servants of India society. They got trained by this society, and they emerged as very important leaders in Indian National Congress as well as Indian nationalism. So they are like Srinivasa Shastri and Hridayanath Kunzru. And what was his role as a member of Imperial Legislative Council? So, so what was his role as member of Imperial Legislative Council? So what do you mean by Imperial Legislative Council? So here, when India was ruled by East India Company, so before 1857, or the revolt of 1857, India was under the hands of East India Company, and East India Company was headed by a Governor General. So this Governor General was having a council to look after the affairs of India. So this council, after 1857, was because after 1857 the British Crown has taken control on Indian affairs from this trading company. In the year 1857, who took over the administration? It was the British Crown. So when British took over the control of Indian affairs in 1857, then the Governor General's Council was re-established as Imperial Legislative Council. So I hope you understand now what is meant by Imperial Legislative Council. So this is an important governing body that administers the Indian affairs, and after the it almost served up to 1947, you can think. So till 1947, the governing body for Indian affairs was Imperial Legislative Council. And in 1902, Gokhale became the member of Imperial Legislative Council. So he was member of this council, and he was continuously requesting the council for reduction in the salt duty. So there was a salt tax levied by Britishers on India. So this was a very immoral and very irrational way of collecting money. So which was outrightly rejected by this man Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and he also took this to the notice of council, as he was also a member in it. So abolition of excise duty on cotton was also rejected by this man Gopal Krishna Gokhale. He was continuously requesting, and he was continuously giving his efforts to the council. So, for reduction of the salt tax and cotton tax, his relentless efforts led to the reduction in toll tax. So toll tax was also collected during those days, which means, whenever the so toll tax, you know very well that no, whenever the vehicles pass through a particular road, either it may be public vehicles or private vehicles and all, so they get, I mean, the government collects certain kind of money. So this kind of toll tax was reduced. This was very high in India during those days. So any businessman or trader, when he takes all his goods and other things, he need to pass by a road and all. So whenever they use that road, they have to pay some kind of toll. That means a tax, which was very high, and it was not profitable for the business people even. So not even business, many farmers and many people. So he kept his efforts in reducing this toll tax. He tried to introduce a bill with a view to make primary education compulsory, but he could not achieve much success in it. So he was a very support of Indians having primary education. So as it was a goal for even Indian National Congress, he worked, and he even tried to introduce a bill. Okay, so being a council member, he even tried to introduce a bill. For what purpose? Primary education for Indians. So early nationalists have demanded primary education for all the masses. If you remember the demands of early nationalists, there is a point like that. So in view of that, Gopal Krishna Gokhale even prepared and introduced a bill, and with this bill he wanted to bring primary education compulsory for all Indians. But unfortunately, this was not successful. He was unable to completely make a law out of it. And being an economist, he demanded radical changes in the fiscal policy and better jobs for the educated middle class. So he was an economist also. He demanded radical changes in the fiscal policy. So what do you mean by this fiscal policy? Generally, any government will have a plan. Okay, how much tax it should collect, how much money it should spend on people, and managing the taxes and expenditure and other things to boost the country's economy is decided by the fiscal policy of the government. So whatever policy that government adopts, it decides how the government can collect tax and how the government can spend the money effectively. So with what effectiveness it can collect and with what effectiveness it can give back to the people, this decides the growth of the country. So being an economist, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he wanted the Britishers to change the fiscal policy of British towards India. Those days, British fiscal policy towards India was like one way. It was completely the Britishers who were benefiting from the resources of India. So this is not a healthy fiscal policy. This policy is not developing India. So he wanted to bring some changes in this policy of British so that Indians can even get benefited from this policy. And also he worked for the better jobs for educated middle class. He impressed upon the government to reduce the land revenue. He was very, very particular, and he was even very strong enough to take the issue of reducing the land revenue, which was too much in those days. And but even though he was not successful, but he was successful in keeping pressure on the British government. So that was his effort. And Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Gandhiji. So whenever we speak about Gokhale, it becomes mandatory that we have to even remember Gandhiji. Gokhale went to South Africa where he helped Gandhiji in his fight against racial discrimination. The credit of persuading Gandhiji to return to India and join Indian public life also goes to Gokhale. So in fact, Gandhiji accepted Gokhale as his political mentor. So when Gandhiji was in South Africa, and you know what the racial discrimination that Indians were facing there, like even Gandhiji was sent out of the train because he was a black man, something like. So when these things were going on, Gokhale went and he motivated Gandhiji to fight against the racial discrimination there, and he was also responsible for Gandhiji's arrival in India, and you know what happened rest. So even Gandhiji claimed that Gokhale was his political mentor or political guru, and such a great man. He died on February 15th, 1915, when his popularity was at its peak. So Gopal Krishna Gokhale died due to his ill health, and this was about this great social reformer as well as a I mean, he was also an Indian nationalist who worked for Indian National Congress for many years. So another important leader in the Indian National Congress as well as early nationalist group was Surendranath Banerjee. Okay, he was from Bengal and he was also a nationalist leader. So you know all the contributions done by Surendranath Banerjee, right? He was he was a person who started Indian, Indian Association. Later, he conducted a national conference. Later, he merged this national conference with Indian National Congress. So, with all his activities, he was very popular Indian national leader. So, he was born in Bengal in 1848, and he was the first person to qualify for Indian Civil Service examination. So the very first Indian who qualified the highest exam of those days, Indian Civil Service examination, was Surendranath Banerjee. He worked as a magistrate in Assam, but he was soon dismissed because he opposed the policy of racial discrimination followed by the British. So in various aspects, the British were following racial differences with Indians. They considered Indians as a very inferior race. So this policy of British was not liked by Surendranath Banerjee, and he opposed it openly. And being the government servant, when he opposed the policies of British, naturally he got dismissed from his service. And Surendranath began his career as a professor of English at Metropolitan College. He set up his own school, which later developed into Ripon College. So his career was after he started as a professor, okay, and he was an English professor, and later he also had his own school. Surendranath was elected to the Calcutta Corporation and remained its member for nearly 2 decades. So this was his political entry. Surendranath Banerjee, he served as a member to Calcutta Municipal Corporation. Those days, the early nationalists were demanding more participation of Indians into the local bodies. So as municipal corporation is a local body and he himself was a member in it, that shows that what they preach they practice. So he was elected to the Bengal Legislative Council for 4 times. So not only serving as a corporation member for Calcutta, but from Bengal province he was elected as also a council member for 4 times, not 1 or 2 times. He was almost elected for 4 times. In 1921, he was appointed as Minister of Self-Government and Health by the Governor of Bengal. So from Bengal, he served as from the stage of a corporation member, he emerged to a council member, and later he even became a minister for health who was, in the Bengal province. And he was the first Indian to hold that position. So he was the first Indian to hold a important ministry in the provincial legislative councils. Okay, especially in the Bengal Legislative Council, which was headed by governor. He got a key important ministry called Health Ministry, and he was the first Indian to get a ministry like that in British government. He advocated even the use of constitutional methods for the attainment of India's goals. He was also very moderate in thinking, so he believed in constitutional methods. That means Congress, he wanted himself or everyone to not break the rules and laws framed by British. Instead, we have to obey the laws and rules, but at the same time, we have to continue our efforts to keep asking for changes with the British. So his famous saying was opposition where necessary, cooperation where possible. So he believed that wherever we need to oppose British, there we have to oppose them. Wherever we have to cooperate with them, we have to cooperate with them. With this kind of moderate thinking and approach, he emerged as a very moderate early nationalistic leader in even Indian National Congress. So what was his contribution? The main contribution of Surendranath Banerjee, you can see Surendranath Banerjee here. The major important contribution was he founded Indian Association in 1876 and he established certain objectives for that. So what did he establish? Indian Association. Okay, this was an important association that played a role in Indian National Congress formation also. So in 1876, he formed Indian National Association, and what was its primary objective? There are many goals, but creating strong public opinion, create political consciousness and political unity. He was the person who believed that all the associations in India should come together and form a common political party. So those were all the goals. He wanted Indians to have a political opinions on British, a common political opinions. Many such objectives were promoted through his association called Indian Association. He created an all India political organ. So in order to create an all India political organization, he conducted Indian National Conference in 1883 at Kolkata. So the first, see, Surendranath Banerjee first contribution is Indian Association. Second contribution is National Conference. What is this National Conference? it is the meeting of all the leaders from different parts of India. So where it happened? It happened in Kolkata. So which year it happened? In the year 1883. So in Kolkata, in the year 1883, first conference was happened. I mean, it occurred, and second conference also happened in Kolkata for national conference. But it happened in the year 1885. Okay, so just for your information, I'm reminding you this again. And Surendranath Banerjee's Indian National Conference merged with Indian National Congress in 1886. So when second session of Congress was going on, sorry, when second session of National Conference was going on in Calcutta, first conference in 83, second conference in 85. And in 85, simultaneously, Indian National Congress also emerged, and it also had its goals. So in 85, second conference for national conference. First conference was in 83. So 83 was first conference, 85 was second conference, and Indian National Congress in between, Indian National Congress I'm talking, not conference now. Indian National Congress also took its birth in 85. Now, when it proceeded in 86 year, okay, 1986, this national conference got merged with Indian National Congress. So thus the dream of Surendranath Banerjee creating a common political party for Indians came to true. And he even presided over two sessions of Congress in 1895 and 1902. So he worked for Indian National Congress and he presided the Congress sessions two terms. So this was another important contribution of Surendranath Banerjee. So what were his political ideas? How politically he was emerging? What ideology does this man Surendranath Banerjee had? So he was running a newspaper called the Bengali. Okay, so he used this Bengali medium for mobilizing public opinion. As you know, his objective through India, his Indian Association, which was his organization, right? So with this association, he wanted Indians to have a common political opinion. Okay, so this common political opinion was created, was our common political opinion was taken into people, or he wanted this opinion to be framed through his newspaper Bengali. Okay, and he was writing many news articles and many such things to mobilize the opinion of people. And his book, Nation in the Making. Okay, so what was his book? Nation in the Making. It gives an account of political concern and his views about self-government. So how the government should run and what is the political goals of people, all such things he mentioned in his book, Nation in the Making. Banerjee even started agitation against the License Act, Arms Act. You know what is this License Act, Arms Act? Those days, no Indian is permitted to use weapon without the permission of British. That is License Act and Arms Act. And Vernacular Press Act. So this Vernacular Press Act, it has prohibited Indian newspapers to it has prohibited Indian newspapers not to write any criticism on British policies. They brought this act to stop Indians criticizing Britishers and their policies in their newspapers. So he worked against these two laws made by British Parliament, and he also fought against the lowering of the age from 21 to 19 years in ICS examination. So those days civil service examination was the qualifying age was, I mean, like earlier it was till 21 years they can write, but they reduced it to the age of 19. So the lowering the age, they have reduced the age from 21 to 19. So that to avoid Indians to participate in this exam. So which he fought against this. And he opposed the Morley-Minto reforms of 1909, which introduced separate electorate for Hindus. See, Minto-Morley reforms on one hand, they have expanded councils, well and good. But on the other hand, they have introduced communal electorates or separate electorates for Muslims that are Hindus and Muslims. That means if a candidate is contesting from a place, if he is a Muslim, all the Muslims in that area can only vote for that particular man. So he wanted the British wanted to divide and rule people here in India. So they created this kind of communal electorates in India, which was outrightly, rejected by or outrightly protested by this man Surendranath Banerjee. He also opposed the division of Bengal by Lord Curzon. So, being a Bengali, he does not want Bengalis to get separated. So, the Bengal partition was done in 1905 based on administrative reasons, so which was rejected by or which was protested by Surendranath Banerjee. Banerjee was popularly known as father of Indian nationalism, and he died in the year 1925. So this is about the chapter first phase of Indian national movement.